My throat is a little bit sore, so sorry if my voice is bad or something. Oh, Hare Krishna, Vishnu Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapatakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savarutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanmitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinapando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya eva cha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyabari Pashatare Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridanandasto Hyabadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam Nasta Prayesva Padreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatya Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Okay, so we continue reading Krishna book the second time in the introduction. Okay, Hare Krishna. Krishna 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 He Krishna 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 He Krishna 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 Raksha Mam Krishna 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 Pahi Mam Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Raksha Mam Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahi Imam Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 796. While attempting to write this book, Krishna, what happened? Let me first offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, 108 Sri Srimad Bhaktisiranta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Then let me offer my respectful obeisances to the ocean of mercy, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, appearing in the role of a devotee just to distribute the highest principle of devotional service. Lord Chaitanya began his preaching from the country known as Gauda Desha, West Bengal. And as I belong to the Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, I must therefore offer my respectful obeisances to our disciplic succession. This Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya is also known as Brahma Sampradaya because the disciplic succession originally began from Brahma. Brahma instructed the sage Narada. Narada instructed Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva instructed Madhava Muni or Madhavacharya, Madhaventra Puri. The originator of Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya belonged to the Madhavacharya disciplic succession. He had many renowned disciples, both in the sannyas, renounced, and household orders of life. Disciples such as Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and Ishvara Puri. Ishvara Puri happened to be the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let us offer our respectful obeisances to Ishwarapuri, Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Sri Vas Pandit, and Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Next, let us offer our respectful obeisances to Swarup Damodar, who acted as the private secretary to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And let us offer our respectful obeisances to Sri Vasudeva Datta, and the constant attendant of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Govinda, and the constant friend of Lord Chaitanya, Mukunda, and also Murari Gupta. And let us offer our respectful obeisances to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. Krishna himself has explained in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whenever there are discrepancies in the regulative principles of man's religious life and prominence of irreligious activities, he appears on these earth planets. In other words, when Lord Sri Krishna appeared, there was a necessity of minimizing the load of sinful activities accumulated on this planet or in this universe. For affairs on the material creation, Lord Mahavishnu, the plenary portion of Krishna, is in charge. When the Lord descends, the incarnation emanates from Vishnu. Mahavishnu is the original cause of material creation, and from him, Karbodakasai Vishnu expands, and then Kshirodakasai Vishnu. Generally, all the incarnations appearing within this material universe are plenary expansions from Kshirodakasai Vishnu. Therefore, the business of minimizing the overload of sinful activities on this earth does not belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself. But when Krishna appears, all the Vishnu expansions also join with him. Krishna's different expansions, namely Narayana, the quadruple expansion of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, as well as the partial plenary expansion of Matsya, or the incarnation of fish, and other Yuga avatars, incarnations for the millennium, and the Manvantara avatars, the incarnations of Manus, all combine together and appear with the body of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the complete whole, and all plenary expansions or incarnations always live with him. When Krishna appeared, Lord Vishnu was also with him. Krishna actually appears to demonstrate his Vrindavan pastimes and to attract the fortunate conditioned souls and invite them back home, back to Godhead. The killing of the demons was simultaneously to his Vrindavan activities and was carried out only by the Vishnu portion of Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 20th verse, it is stated that there is another eternal nature, the spiritual sky, which is transcendental to this manifested and non-manifested matter. The manifested world can be seen in the form of many stars and planetary systems, such as the sun, moon, etc. But beyond this, there is a non-manifested portion, which is not approachable to anyone in this body. And beyond that non-manifested matter, there is the spiritual kingdom. That kingdom is described in the Bhagavad Gita as supreme and eternal. It is never annihilated. This material nature is subjected to repeated creation and annihilation. But that part, the spiritual nature, remains as it is eternally. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhus, anyone can continue. Hare Krishna Kesava Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, the supreme abode of the personality Godhead Krishna is also described in the Brahma Samhita as the abode of Chintamani. That abode of Lord Krishna, known as Gogula Vrindavan, is full of palace made of touchstone. There are trees are called desire trees, and the cows are called Surabhi. Their Lord is served there by hundreds and thousands of goddess of Krishna. His name is Govinda, a primal Lord, and he is the cause of all causes. There is the Lord places blood, the eyes, and like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like that beautiful clown. On his head is a peacock feather. He is so attractive that he excels thousands of cupids. Lord Krishna gives only a little hint in the Gita of his personal abode, which is supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna actually appears with the whole his paraphernalia and demonstrate, demonstrates his activities in Vrindavan, then at Madura, and then Dwarka. The subject matter of these books will be gradually reveal all these activities. The family in which Krishna appeared in called the Yadu dynasty. This Yadu dynasty belongs to the family descending from Soma. The god is the moon planet. There are two different Kshatriya family of royal order, one descending from the king of moon planet and the other descending from the king of the sun planet. Whenever the supreme personality god appear, they generally appear in the Kshatriya family because he has established religious principle and all the life of righteousness. The Kshatriya family is the protector of the human race according to the Vedic system. When the supreme personality god appear as Lord Ramachandra, he appeared in the family descending from the sun god known as Raghu Vamsa, and when he appeared as Lord Krishna, he did so in the family of Yadu Vamsa. There is long list the king of the Yadu Vamsa in the 9th canto 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. All of them were great powerful king. Krishna's father's name was Vasudeva, son of Surashana, descending from the Yadu dynasty. Actually, the Supreme Personality Godhead does not belong to any dynasty of this material world, but the family in which the Supreme Personality Godhead appeared become famous by its grace. For example, Sandhul is produced in the state of Malaya. Sandhul has his own qualification apart from Malaya. But because accidentally this whole mainly produced in the states of Malaya is known as Malayan Sandalwood. Similarly, Krishna's supreme personality belongs to everyone, but just as sun rises from east, although there are other directions from which it will rise. So by his own choice, the Lord appears in particular family, and that family becomes famous. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. When Krishna appears, all his plenary expansions also appear with him. Krishna appeared along with Balaram, Baladeva, who is known as his elder brother. Balarama is the origin of Sankarsana, of the quadruple expansion. Balarama is also the plenary expansion of Krishna. In this book, the attempt will be made to show how Krishna appeared in the family of the Yadu dynasty and how he displayed his transcendental characteristics. This is very vividly described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically the 10th canto, and the basis of this book will be Srimad Bhagavatam. The pastimes of the Lord are generally heard and relished by liberated souls. Those who are conditioned souls are interested in reading fictional stories of the material activities of some common men. Narrations describing the transcendental activities of the Lord are found in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas, but the conditioned souls still prefer to study ordinary narrations. They are not so interested in studying the narrations of the pastimes of the Lord Krishna. And yet, the descriptions of pastimes of Lord Krishna are so attractive that they are relishable for all classes of men. There are three classes of men in this world. One class consists of liberated souls, another consists of those who are trying to be liberated, and the third consists of materialistic men. Whether one is liberated, or is trying to be liberated, or is even grossly materialistic, the pastimes of Lord Krishna are worth studying. Liberated souls have no interest in materialistic activities. The impersonal theory after liberation, one becomes inactive and needs hear nothing, does not prove that a liberated person is actually inactive. A living soul cannot be inactive. He is either active in the conditioned state or in the liberated state. A diseased person, for example, is also active, but his activities are all painful. A sane person, when freed from the diseased condition, is still active, but in the healthy condition, the activities are full of pleasure. Similarly, the impersonalists manage to get freed from the diseased conditional activities, but they have no information of activities in the healthy condition. Those who are actually liberated and in full knowledge take to hearing the activities of Krishna. Such engagement is pure spiritual activity. It is essential for persons who are actually liberated to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. That is the supreme usable subject matter for one in the liberated state. Also, if persons who are trying to be liberated hear such narrations as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then their path of liberation becomes very clear. Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam. By studying the Gita, one becomes fully conscious of the positions of Lord Krishna And when he is situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, he understands the narrations of Krishna as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya has therefore advised his followers that their business is to propagate Krishna Katha.
Hare Krishna, Yapa Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Should I continue? Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Krishna Katha means narrations about Krishna. There are two Krishna Kathas, narration spoken by Krishna, narration spoken about Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is the narration or the philosophy or the science of God spoken by Krishna himself. Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration about the activities and transcendental pastimes of Krishna. Both are Krishna Katha. It is the order of Lord Chaitanya that Krishna Katha should be spread all over the world. Because if the conditioned souls suffering under the pangs of material existence take to Krishna Katha, then their path of liberation will be open and clear. The purpose of presenting this book is primarily to induce people to understand Krishna or Krishna Katha, because thereby they can become freed from the material bondage. This Krishna Katha will also be very much appealing to the most materialistic persons, because Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, cowherd girls, are exactly like the loving affairs between young girls and boys within this material world. Actually, the sex feeling found in human society is not unnatural, because the same sex feeling is there in the original personality of Godhead. The pleasure potency is called Srimati Radharani. The attraction of loving affairs on the basis of sex feeling is the original feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we, the conditioned souls, being part and parcel of the Supreme, have such feelings also, but they are experienced within a perverted, minute condition. Therefore, when those who are after sex life in this material world hear about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, they will relish transcendental pleasure, although it appears to be materialistic. The advantage will be that they will gradually be elevated to the spiritual platform. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that if one hears the pastimes of Lord Krishna with the gopis from authorities with submission, then he will be promoted to the platform of transcendental loving service to the Lord, and the material disease of lust within his heart will be completely vanquished. In other words, it will counteract the material sex life. Krishna will be appealing to the liberated souls and to persons who are trying to be liberated, as well as to the gross conditioned materialists. According to statement of Maharaj Parikshit, who heard about Krishna from Sukadeva Goswami, Krishna Katha is equally applicable to every human being, in whatever condition of life he is in. Everyone will appreciate it to the highest magnitude. But Maharaj Parikshit also warned that persons who are simply engaged in killing animals and killing themselves may not be very much attracted to Krishna Katha. In other words, ordinary persons who are following the regulative moral principles of scriptures, no matter in what condition they are found, will certainly be attracted, but not persons who are killing themselves. The exact word used in the Srimad Bhagavatam is pashugna, which means killing animals or killing oneself. Persons who are not self-realized and who are not interested in spiritual realization are killing themselves. They are committing suicide, because this human form of life is especially meant for self-realization. By neglecting this important part of his activities, one simply wastes his time like these animals. So he is pashugna. The other meaning of the word refers to those who are actually killing animals. This means persons who are animal eaters, even dog eaters, and they are all engaged in killing animals in so many ways, such as hunting, opening slaughterhouses, etc. Such persons cannot be interested in Krishna Katha. King Parikshit was especially interested in hearing Krishna Katha because he knew that his forefathers and particularly his grandfather, Arjuna, were victorious in the great battle of Kurukshetra only because of Krishna. We may also take this material world as a battlefield of Kurukshetra. Everyone is struggling hard for existence in this battlefield, and at every step there is danger. According to Maharaj Pariksit, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was just like a vast ocean full of dangerous animals. His grandfather Arjuna had to fight with such great heroes as Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and many others who were not ordinary fighters. Such warriors have been compared to the Timingala fish in the ocean. The Timingila fish can very easily swallow up big whales. The great fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra could swallow many Arjunas very easily, but simply through Krishna's mercy, Arjuna was able to kill all of them. Just as one can cross with no exertion over the little pit of water contained in the hoofprint of a calf, so Arjuna, by the grace of Krishna, was able to very easily jump over the ocean of the battle of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Pariksit Maharaj Pariksit very much appreciated Krishna's activities for many other reasons. Not only was his grandfather saved by Krishna, but he himself also was saved by Krishna. At the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, both the sons and grandsons on the side of Dhritarashtra, as well as those on the side of the Pandavas, died in the fighting, except the 5 Pandava brothers. Everyone died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Pariksit was at the time within the embryo of his mother. His father, Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, also died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and so Maharaj Pariksit was a posthumous child. When he was in the womb of his mother, a Brahmastra weapon was released by Ashwatthama to kill the child. When Parikshit Maharaj's mother, Uttara, approached Krishna, Krishna, seeing the danger of abortion, entered her womb as the super soul and saved Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit's other name is Vishnurata, because he was saved by Lord Vishnu himself while still within the womb. Thus, everyone in any condition of life should be interested in hearing about Krishna and his activities because he is the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. He is all-pervading, he is living within everyone's heart, and he is living as his universal form. And yet, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, he appears as he is in the human society just to invite everyone to his transcendental abode, back home, back to Godhead. Everyone should be interested in knowing about Krishna, and this book is presented with this purpose, that people may know about Krishna and be perfectly benefited in this human form of life. In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Baladeva is described as the son of Rohini, a wife of Vasudeva. Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, had 16 wives, and one of them was Rohini, the mother of Balarama. But Balaram is also described as the son of Devaki. So how could he be the son of both Devaki and Rohini? This was one of the questions put by Maharaj Pariksit to Sukadeva Goswami, and it will be answered in due course. Maharaj Pariksit also asked Sukadeva Goswami why Sri Krishna, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudeva, was immediately carried to the house of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, Gokula. He also wanted to know that the activities of the Lord were what the activities of Lord Krishna were while he was in Vrindavan and while he was in Mathura. Besides that, he was especially inquisitive to know why Krishna killed his maternal uncle, Kamsa. Kamsa, being the brother of his mother, was a very intimate superior to Krishna. So how was it that he killed Kamsa? Also, he asked how many years Lord Krishna remained in human society, how many years he reigned over the kingdom of Dvaraka, and how many wives he accepted there. A Kshatriya king is generally accustomed to accept more than one wife. Therefore, Maharaj Pariksit also inquired about his number of wives. The subject matter of this book is Sukadeva Goswami's answering of these and other questions asked by Maharaj Pariksit. The position of Maharaj Pariksit and Sukadeva Goswami is unique. Maharaj Pariksit is the right person to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and Sukadeva Goswami is the right person to describe them. If such a fortunate combination is made possible, then Krishna Katha immediately becomes revealed, and people may benefit to the highest possible degree from such conversations. This narration was presented by Shukadeva Goswami when Maharaj Pariksit was prepared to give up his body, fasting on the bank of the Ganga. In order to assure Sukadeva Goswami that by hearing Krishna Katha he would not feel tired, Maharaj Pariksit expressed himself very frankly. Hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary persons or to me, but the topics of Krishna are so nice that one can continue to hear about them without feeling tired, because hearing situates one in the transcendental position. It is understood that one must be very fortunate to hear about Krishna Katha seriously, like Maharaj Pariksit. He was especially intent on the subject matter because he was expecting death at any moment. Yeah, this is true. Those who are expecting death at every moment, they will definitely hear more interesting. This was also my situation because that time when I found this Krishna Katha and everything, I was at this feeling that I was like expecting death at any moment. So it was easier to take seriously. So every one of us should be conscious of death at every moment. This life is not at all assured. At any time one can die. It does not matter whether one is a young man or an old man. So before death takes place, we must be fully Krishna conscious. At the point of his death, King Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. When King Parikshit expressed his untiring desire to hear about Krishna, Shukadeva Goswami was very pleased. Sukadeva was the greatest of all Bhagavata reciters, and thus he began to speak about Krishna's pastimes, which destroy all inauspiciousness in this age of Kali. Sukadeva Goswami thanked the king for his eagerness to hear about Krishna, and he encouraged him by saying, "My dear king, your intelligence is very keen because you are so eager to hear about the pastimes of Krishna." He informed Maharaj Pariksit that hearing and chanting of the pastimes of Krishna are so auspicious that the process purifies the three varieties of men involved. He who recites the transcendental topics of Krishna, he who hears such topics, and he who inquires about him. These pastimes are just like the Ganga water which flows from the toe of Lord Vishnu. They purify the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Ribo. Should we continue from chapter 1 tomorrow, or should, because it's a long one? It would be nice to read it at once.
I'd like tomorrow too. So I'm 11 here to take dinner and all.
Yes, Prabhu, let's continue that tomorrow. Now let's go to 6 as to compares. How much is time in India? Oh, it's past 9 already. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावादुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नामकादिबहुधानिति सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवान् मनादि दुर्दैवमिदृशं ह्यागमि
तृणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि
कविताम्बा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे
अयि नन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितां मां विषमे भवां बुधौ कृप तव पादपङ्कज स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
प्रह्लादस्य धारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा कुलकीर्णिजितं बभूकदा
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविश्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दाविरहेण मे
सेवापादरतां विनुष्टुमां दर्शनां मर्महदां करोतु वा यदातदागा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनादस्तु स एव नापर.
Haribol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energy. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name. I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. One should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotion service, birth after.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly, when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his comrade, or makes me broken-hearted in not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditional.
Ribo, Sisikastakam ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Sri
Jai.
Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai,
Jai.
Jagat Krishna Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai
Jai.
Gaura Premanande, Hari Bo.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining the reading session.
Prabhu, so fast it got over.